When we talk about Lord Krishna and his wife, the first question we would have is how many wives did he actually have? Some say he had 16,000 wives and consorts, while others believe that he had only 8 queens and one of them was Jambavati. Samba was the son of Lord Krishna and his second consort Jambavati. The Mahabharata and the Devi Bhagavata Purana narrate the story of the birth of Samba. Jambavati was unhappy when she realized that only she had not borne any children to Krishna, while all his other wives were blessed with many children. So she approached Krishna to find a solution and to be blessed with a son. Krishna knew this son would herald in the destruction of the Yadav clan and therefore needed the son to be in the form of Shiva's destructive energy. Then Krishna went to the hermitage of the sage Upamanyu in the Himalayas, and as advised by the sage, he started to pray to Lord Shiva. He did penance for 6 months in various postures. Pleased with his austerities, Shiva finally appeared before Krishna in the form of Ardhanarishwara, the half-female, half-male form of God Shivashakti. And Krishna asked him a boon. Although Shiva was reluctant to grant a child who had the same destructive energy and rage as his, Krishna would not listen to him and convinced him to grant his wish. Krishna then sought a son from Jambavati and thereafter was named Samba, named after one of the many forms of Shiva. Samba was an exception as he had a small role to play in the epic Mahabharata and a larger role in the ultimate decimation of the Yadava community. Samba had no integrity at all and would stop at nothing. His stepmothers were not spared as well. In the absence of his father, he stooped to many unethical things. Krishna bore it with patience as long as he could, as he did not like to hurt his son. One day, Samba teased sage Narada for his looks. The sage, who was not handsome or the least good-looking, felt humiliated and was very infuriated. He decided to teach Samba a lesson. He lured Samba to the private bathing pool where his stepmothers were taking bath. Finding intrusion on their privacy, they all complained to Krishna. Narada also added fuel to the fire. Krishna was very mortified to learn about the miscreants of his son and decided to put a stop to it. He felt that Samba has cast a slur upon his family by doing countless bad things. Krishna scolded Samba and insulted him, and soon Krishna's anger reached its zenith. In his anger, he cursed him with leprosy. Lo and behold, Samba immediately started suffering from leprosy. His body became disfigured overnight, and he was in great agony from the disease. Lord Krishna's wife Jambavati could not endure seeing her son tortured in this way. With tears streaming from her eyes, she approached her husband. Krishna relented at first, but then he suggested a way to uplift this curse. Samba had to offer prayers to Surya, the sun god, and he must bathe in the river Chandrabhaga by immersing himself in the water, and this is how he would be cured. By this time, Samba could not even get up. He asked his father pitifully to help him with this condition. Samba began pleading with Krishna as he could no longer walk. Krishna took pity on him and carried him the entire way. When they arrived at the banks of the river, Samba prayed to the sun god and then entered into the river. Krishna bathed his son in the water, and when Samba emerged, he was completely cured. Krishna's curse had been nullified. Despite being cursed and punished, Samba did not mend his ways, and he grew to be a nuisance to the Yadavas, Krishna's clan. On one such occasion, Samba learnt that Lakshmana, who was the daughter of Duryodhana and the younger sister of Lakshmana Kumara, had come of age. Her father arranged her Swayamvara, and many princes came to win her hand. Samba had heard of Lakshmana and wanted to marry her. He went to the Swayamvara and abducted her. He defeated the Kuru Maharathis who pursued him but was finally caught. He was arrested by the Kuru elders and thrown into the prison. Lakshmana's Swayamvara was rearranged, but no other prince was willing to marry her, since it was considered that a woman abducted by another man belonged to that man. Although the other princes were actually afraid of the Yadavas who might attack them on Samba's behalf. Balrama, who was fond of his notorious nephew, went to Hastinapura to bail him out. The Kurus refused. Balrama became enraged and started destroying the palace. Soon after, Duryodhana apologized for their conduct, and Balrama was pacified and ordered the Kurus to free Samba. Duryodhana then married his daughter off to Samba, and the marriage was celebrated in pomp and show. Samba and Lakshmana had 10 sons, eldest of them being Sumitra. Now let's learn about what happened after the great Kurukshetra war. With the successful Ashwamedha Yaga, Yudhishthira was crowned as the mighty emperor of the whole world. The land and the clouds never disappointed the farmers. Dwarka, the city of the Yadavas, was filled with richness. King Ugrasena ruled the city, and the Yadavas had a happy and peaceful life. One day, sage Vishwamitra, sage Kanva, and sage Narada came to Dwarka while they were on their way to Pindasura Lake. Jambavati's son Samba played a prank on them by disguising himself as a pregnant woman, and he visited the sages with his friends. He said, "Bless this woman, sages. I am pregnant and I would like to know about the baby. Is it going to be a boy or a girl?" Samba played his part of the prank. The sages realized that it's Krishna's son Samba. Enraged by Samba's mocking, sage Vishwamitra cursed him. "It's not going to be a boy or a girl, Samba. It's going to be an iron rod. O hair of Krishna, it's an iron rod that's going to be responsible for the annihilation of Virinshis and the Andakas. You cruel and wicked-hearted Yadavas, except for Balrama, you all will be slaughtered by the same iron rod that Samba will be giving birth to. You all are so much into pride that you have lost your senses. You all will die the same way, fully drowned in pride and deprived of senses." Having said this, sage Vishwamitra and the other saints left Dwarka and informed about the misconduct of Samba and the curse to Krishna. Krishna, on hearing the words of the sage, recalled the curse of Gandhari. "So, the curse has started working," Krishna thought to himself, and informed his brother Balrama and other Yadava kings about it. In the meantime, Samba and his friends narrated everything to King Ugrasena. Everyone spent the night sleeplessly, thinking about the curse. After a while, Samba gave birth to an iron rod as cursed. It was brought into the court, and King Ugrasena and others gathered around saw it as a messenger of death. Seeing the rod and the fear in everyone's eyes, King Ugrasena spoke. "Get some people and powder this iron rod. Cast it into the Prabhasa Sea. I don't want even the dust of it to be in the city." Krishna, who was present there, spoke in a concerned voice. "Fate and curse cannot be altered with. And do you think it is possible to stop what's written in destiny? One thing about destiny is, Ugrasena, that we cannot change it. The curse was for all the Yadava men. We should do something to at least protect the innocent women and children." Ugrasena acted immediately and made sure that gambling, waging, and consumption of alcohol was strictly prohibited in the kingdom. The word spread, and the citizens were worried of their extinction and were petrified of Balram's anger if they revolted. So they behaved well, and the Yadavas strived in every possible way to stop their annihilation. While they were trying to prevent the curse from happening, the curse took another form. The powdered iron rod that was thrown into the sea washed ashore in the Prabhasa Sea, and it started growing into irka grass. The irka grass grew stronger and sharper. However, a tiny unbreakable iron spike, which was not powdered, was swallowed by a fish in the sea. And this fish was killed by a fisherman named Jara, and he fixed the iron spike to the end of his arrow. Meanwhile, in Dwarka, the changes were vicious. The winds that blew became stronger day by day. Pests multiplied. The leaves dried and trees died. Rats, mice ate the grains in the houses. Within days, they even started nurturing on the nails of napping men. The days were getting hotter, and even the owls were hooting in daylight. The nights were so dark and noisy, filled with the cries of jackals and dogs and the irking sounds of birds and owls. With the rise in food shortage, the Vrinchis, the Andakas, became more selfish. They forgot to share or offer. Theft and robbery increased. Krishna and Balrama urged King Ugrasena to restore things as it was. But the citizens ceased to follow orders. They became more selfish, cruel, egocentric, and full of pride. And they committed sinful acts. They stopped honoring Brahmins and sages, and the people offended their gurus and seniors. As the situation worsened, the king also lost control on his sons and grandsons. And with no time, King Ugrasena lost control on himself too. Not a single order or rule was followed. Insanity captured the people of Dwaraka. Krishna summoned all the Yadavas and spoke. The happenings indicate that the time for the curse has come. I think it's time the Vrinchis and Andakas go on a pilgrimage. With the new moon, we all will leave to the Prabhasa Sea for sacred bathing in the sacred waters of the ocean, and I want everyone with their families for this pilgrimage. With receiving orders from Krishna, people made arrangements for their pilgrimage to the Prabhasa Sea. They set out together in chariots, steeds, carts, and elephants. With the rituals and the sacred bathing and prayers done, the people built camps near the shore for the night stay. With everyone bringing stored wine that was not used after Balram's order, they seemed to have abundant to drink. The Yadava men started drinking with the nightfall. Those who were drunk beyond the limits lost their senses and started to misbehave. They mixed wine in the food prepared for the Brahmins who performed the rituals. The Brahmins were so upset that they left the shore. The women and children were afraid too, and they hid inside the tents, away from the drunken men. The night was filled with liquor, revelries, trumpets, drums, and the loud drunken yelling of the men. They all were blazing and vulgar like the ocean that's extended its shores. Except Balrama and Krishna, everyone was drunk. With Krishna and Balrama nearby, the mighty Pradyuman, Ugrasena and Samba too started drinking and spoke abusive words. Intoxicated with wine, everyone started criticizing each other. Balrama left the spot, understanding the result of the arguments, so he went near the Prabhasa Sea and sat under a tree in yogic stance. After a while, everyone began arguing on who wronged more during the war and who failed to follow the rules of the war. The argument busted, the inner anger and rage filled in the hearts of the warriors. When Krishna tried to stop everyone, Satyaki spoke. Do you have any idea on how Kritavarma behaved towards Satyajit for taking the Samantakumani germ from him? Turning towards Kritavarma, he continued, You assisted Aswadhama in killing the Upapandavas. Because of those sinful acts of yours, I swear your end is near. Your time has come to die for being responsible for the death of innocent sons of Pandavas, spoke Satyaki. Krishna couldn't bear it any longer and took a handful of erka grass that was waiting there to fulfill its destiny. The moment Krishna held the grass in his hands with anger, it turned into a strong iron mace. Intoxicated by the effects of the wine, the Yadavas turned towards Krishna and attacked him. Krishna slew every single Yadava who came to attack him holding the iron mace. People who supported Krishna slew the others. Struck by fate, the Vrinchis, the Bhojas, the Andakas and the rest attacked each other using the erka grass. The grass turned into iron mace in the hands of the Yadavas. The warriors slayed their troopers, the sons slew their seniors, the gurus killed his disciples, and the people too slaughtered the youths brutally. It was a total bloodbath at the banks of the river. And soon, all the Yadavas started fighting amongst each other. They used the sharp cane made of the iron bits to slaughter each other. In the midst of the fighting, Samba was also slain. After the slaughter, only Krishna and Balrama were remaining. Balrama was extremely saddened and his soul departed from his mortal body. Krishna sent a messenger to Arjuna. He knew that Dwaraka would drown within 7 days, so he wanted Arjuna to rescue the Yadava women. Krishna then sat under a tree and started meditating. At this time, the hunter Jara approached that location. He mistook Krishna's feet as a deer and shot him with the same iron-tipped arrow that came from Samba's belly. He later repented, but Krishna consoled him and said that this was all meant to happen. Krishna then departed from his mortal body and went back to Vaikuntha. Thus, Samba's foolish and mischievous acts inadvertently ended the Yadava dynasty. Samba was a trouble to the Yadava dynasty throughout his life. From the abduction of Lakshmana to the insults of the sages, he caused a lot of trouble, although he was a very respectable warrior. But all of this was meant to happen. Samba was just an instrument of Krishna on this purpose of ending the Yadava dynasty.